Let's talk about some other things happening around the NFL. Aaron Rodgers, your best friend of the program, he came out and answered questions about his future. Here it is.
You've talked about wanting to play beyond this year. Yeah. Has the way this season gone for you or as a team changed that thought at all?
Not really. Not for the negative. No, not really.
So you still want to play in 2025?
I think so, yeah.
What's that mean, AJ? You tell me. You've obviously communicated with him more than any other human in the history of his existence. You think that means he wants to play next year? And what do you think he's thinking about the future? And obviously everything's still in front of him. And they got a big test this weekend for this season. But what do you think he is? Has he even thought about it? Or do you think he's being coy here?
I mean, I'm sure he has thought about it. I was glad to see them ask him because I almost wanted to ask him last time he was on. Didn't really get to it, but I'm thinking, we should have asked him that because I don't know. He's had to think about it, I would imagine, right? If you're going to play next year or not. And I'm honest, I'm not messing
having
around.
the answer.
Okay, I'm not sitting there bugging. Let me bug my buddy after they lose however many games in a row. Hey, bud, you think about playing next year? I'm not doing that. Sorry.
Hey, brother, listen. Definitely not another year of this shit, right?
No way, right?
Yeah, for real. You got so much money, go to Egypt again. I'm not doing that.
Well, I can't do it because of the solstice. It already happened.
Yeah,
June 12th, 2024.
Once in a lifetime.
6/12/24, brother. You got to do that entire thing. What do you think the Jets are thinking about next year? Obviously, I already fired the coach. I assume that is an indicator of more change happening. People are brother, Jets fans, talking about how Woody Johnson is going to go back and be an ambassador again. Mm-hmm. So he is going to be out of the building for 4 years.
Yep.
That is what Jets fans are saying. They're saying he's going to be. So we have a time now, which is wild that is how they actually think.
Windows back open.
Windows open. Our owner's no longer going to be in the building. He's going to be an ambassador. What do you think the future looks like? And what do you think, Aaron? I know this is crazy to even ask this because he's Aaron Rodgers, first ballot Hall of Famer and everything like that. But are they going to make the decision for Aaron? Is that something that's going to happen, you think, for the Jets, or how do you think it kind of goes?
No, it's going to be his, regardless. It's going to be his. Woody ain't going to be around. I mean, we just talked about being connected to your team and how important that is for the owner to be connected and be a sounding board and be a voice, Big thing is, will Joe D make the cut? Because I think we all think, this thing ain't going to whatever. You're going to, Brick, I mean, I love Brick. I hope he gets an opportunity someday. He's learning on the fly now and inherited a really tough situation, but that thing gets blown up. They're right now looking at, all right, I don't know who it is, if it's Woody or Woody's brother, who's going to make that call and hire the next coach.
That's a whole scene, brother, over there in New York.
Is Woody for sure gone? Is Woody for sure going to be an ambassador again?
We don't know. There's been a lot of titles given out to a lot of people, I think. Obviously, big reactions. I don't know if Ambassador Johnson has been given the role back again from President Trump, but Jets fans are for shoot, which means for real, being thank God. Can we give him an 8-year term over there and get him out of there? Isn't that wild? That's wild. That is a wild thing to think about. And what are you shaking your head about, Ty, over there for the New York Jets? They might be cursed. I mean, there's a chance they're cursed. It doesn't matter, any of it, but the future's bright.
I don't know about that. I think you can't hire Coach Brick. I'm sure those guys love him, but I think they need to go hire Vrabel. They have the defensive, they have the pieces in place. He's a guy who can come in and actually establish a culture. They've just been bouncing from guy to guy. They haven't had anyone who's since Rex Ryan really, who has established a culture. And then the Rodgers piece of it, that's a whole nother conversation. But I think they need to get someone in there who has an established program and is a guy who can win. You can't just get one of these young OCs who's the hot new name who's never had a head coaching job before. They have a bunch of talent in place on the defense. We always hear how good their defense is. Go hire Vrabel. He's a proven winner.
Now he has a presence about him. Vrabes has a presence about him that I think does well in a New York type setting.
And his press conferences.
He's brash.
His press conferences would be awesome.
Oh yeah.
Him dealing with that media would be great. That would be awesome.
Sigs, he'd be smooth.
Well, he's Sigs and. I mean, we're having it. I don't even know. Could you imagine him walking up to that press conference with?
Oh man,
so good.
Just 2 tins and then Sig in ear.
Yep.
And then he said, "We're playing football here."
I think whatever they do, Pat. Sorry.
No, I was going to say somebody from the New York Post was about to ask a question.
And AJ,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. I spit on. Go ahead.
Put the cig out on him.
Yeah.
I think as an organization, like you got to go get Vrabel, and you can't worry about like Aaron or this guy or that guy or whatever. Go get a proven friggin' winner. I think ever since Sean McVay was hired and the success that he had, everybody's trying to find a needle in the haystack. Sometimes it works out, and more times it doesn't.
Why is it so hard to find
So you
good
look
coaches?
at the success Quinn's having right now, second time. Raheem down in Atlanta, second time, right? Been through it, made mistakes, had a chance to step back, watch, learn, grow. What would I do different? Okay, I'm getting another shot. Vrabel's going to be 10 times as good this time around than he was last time because he's going to change some things and do some things different because he's going to look at himself. He's a smart guy. But I'm going to get the very best coach that I can get, and then I'm going to worry about, okay, you want to be here or not be here. This is going to be the coordinator. We'd love to have you, but and that's how, to me, it's got to be. You got to go get a guy that knows what the hell he's doing.
It's hard to find a good coach. It was a conversation we were having last week. I think you heard it potentially. Coaching is very difficult, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think we don't give enough credit to how hard coaching. I think coaching is a very difficult thing. And if you lose it or lose the locker room, it doesn't matter your talent, X's and O's, your ability. If your message isn't getting through, nobody cares. So it's like Zimmer. Zimmer's had good defenses everywhere he's been. Mm-hmm. Is that inaccurate?
Yes.
That's inaccurate.
Cincinnati, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I mean, I played for him, right?
Even in Minnesota, whenever him.
He left before me, but guys love him.
Even when Kirk and he weren't, the offense and defense were seemingly two actual different teams, and Zimmer was the head coach and leading the defense. It's like he's always had a good defense, but you also have to be a phenomenal communicator to every group of people that you have. And for whatever reason, this Dallas Cowboys defense isn't coming together. It's like, I think it's really hard to coach, and I don't think we talk about that nearly enough. I think the conversation is fire him, fire him, fire him. It's like, is there any grass available, and is it greener?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
We're hiring the offensive guru just because we're trying to link him up with the quarterback. Okay, run the offense and make sure Caleb doesn't fail. Make sure AR doesn't fail. Make sure this guy doesn't fail. And then fuck everybody else. You know, that guy's just in the – he's never in the defense. He's trying to pick his head in the defense. Hey, we good? How you guys doing? Good. We going to – hey, you know – but then he's off and doing his own thing. But like to Lombo's point, like go out and delegate, right? Hire the best damn defensive coordinator you get your hands on, offensive coordinator, special teams guy, and then you got to be the CEO. You got to be connected to that side of the building, your own side of the building, and keep everybody moving in the same direction.
And you have to be able to talk.
Communicate.
You have to be able to talk to the team. You have to be able to talk to coaches. You have to be able to talk to management, and you have to be able to talk to media. Yep. Those are all 4 different forms of communication, 4 different conversations that are happening as well. With front office, probably future, what we have going on. With the players, it's like, how do we get the most out of today? With the media, it's like, let's not say anything while saying stuff, and then let alone ownership questioning why the hell you're not doing it. It's like you have to be a phenomenal communicator, and the ability to do that I don't think everybody just has, even though we expect everybody to.
Well, and the Patriots are going through this right now. Like Gerard Mayo, he's not calling defensive plays, he's not calling offensive plays, so it's one of those things where it's like, how good is he at knowing his team and delegating? And obviously, you know, he calls the entire team soft and they respond well, so you would think obviously that it's working right now for Mayo. But the thing with the offensive, you know, coaches that you want to go get the new offensive mind, like that's also a problem too. Because the conversation with the Texans is like, hey, if they let Slowick go, then what happens with C.J. Stroud? And like, I'm not saying Mac Jones is anywhere near what C.J. Stroud is doing, but that's what happened with Mac Jones, where he, you know, they go 10-7 his rookie year, and then he has 3 different offensive coordinators in 3 years. Obviously, you know, hitting on both the quarterback and the right offensive coach, like the odds of that, I'm sure, are very, very slim. But that is why they're going after so many offensive-minded guys, because you need the quarterback and you need the offensive mind. And once you have a good quarterback, if your offensive mind isn't your head coach, that guy's gone. And like, luckily for some places like Detroit, like Houston, they just give him pay bumps to the OC, because I think Slowick, Washington with Cliff, you know, hopefully they do the same thing with him. But like, that is kind of the reason, because as a Patriots fan, I am worried about that fact, where it's like, hey, if Mayo isn't, you know, doing anything, which I do believe he is, but when things start going south, like, is Mayo just lame duck, and then do we just start this whole entire thing over again?
So I think where Raheem did a great job when he went at Atlanta. He went into it's Arthur Blank, right, the owner down there, and he said, you got to have a succession plan, right, because you're going to lose Ben Johnson at some point. So who's that next guy in the building? He's got to be in the building. He's got to be in those. He's got to know the verbiage. He's got to know the players. He's got to be connected with the offense, with the quarterback, all that kind of stuff. Defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn's a guy that. So who is that guy? And what Raheem did was he went to Arthur Blank and said, "I want to hire here this staff." And if you look them up and you pull up their coaching staff roster, he's got 50 coaches on there. Like I'm exaggerating a little bit. He's got more than anybody else. Where Belichick, it was always like the old days. Like you had a couple guys on offense, a couple guys on defense, a special teams guy.
Patricia can call plays, yeah.
You know, and so
yes, that was an aggressive.
So what he's done is he said, "These guys are really good. I'm going to lose these guys, but I need this guy. So when I lose this guy, he's the next in line. He's the heir apparent." So they're in the building. We're grooming them. We're molding them from a communication standpoint. It ain't going to be. You know, I don't know what, like Thomas Brown it is, right? Took over in Chicago now.
Yeah.
What kind of voice he had? Does he been in front of the room? Has he stood in front of those guys? Has he done the install? There's a lot to that. So everybody's got to have a succession plan now and guys in place that you're grooming to be that next guy.
That's why I just think when you take all this into account and you look at the Jets, it's like, why wouldn't you hire Vrabel? He should have never been fired in the first place. Like, look at that roster and what he did. When he got fired, it was like, holy shit. Like, are you kidding me? Like, we were all shocked. That was not – and, like, with Belichick, obviously he's the GOAT, but, like, he'd been there for so long, change of direction, whatever you want to call it. And then, like, Rodgers isn't going to be there another 10 years. Like, it's probably one more year. So I don't think you want to go out and get one of these offensive guys where it's like chances are if you have a good year, if you get him and you do what you thought you were going to initially do when you got Rodgers, at least go to the playoffs, you're not going to be picking in the top 10. You're not going to get one of those premier quarterbacks. So you're going to have to rely on your defense for a little bit. So why would you go out and get one of these unproven offensive guys?
I'm a firm believer, and I think Lombo's talked about it. You just need somebody that can build a culture.
Yeah.
Like you look at MCDC. MCDC is not calling plays.
100%.
But MCDC is probably a big part of why Johnson doesn't want to leave.
Yeah.
Like he loves working for him, loves the building. And if Sheila Ford Hamp is willing to give a couple more dollars to the coaches to remain the coordinators in Aaron Glenn, it's like, can you build up an entire building? Like that, can you empower everybody? That's why Jim Harbaugh going over there was just like, we think he's going to win. Why? Because he's always won. He's always been able to get everybody to be on the same page, row the same direction. MCDC's doing the same exact thing in Detroit.
It's the first thing he did, Pat. MCDC was on the 0-16 Lions team. He knew the culture there was losing, and he said, when I get this job, I'm going to change the culture, and then eventually I'll bring in the pieces that can win games. I mean, the first draft pick they do, Penei Sewell. They get Amon-Ra St. Brown, 4th round. The culture was building slowly, and now we're seeing what it's doing.
You guys are making it. You just hire a coach, and he's there for 20 years.
Okay. That's Pittsburgh Steelers model. It has certainly worked for a long time. They got icy lights in there from the 80s.
Yep.
And that was just one coach go.
It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much to it. Like the GM, like Tennessee, like soon as Rand came in, right?
Yeah.
And then we traded A.J. Brown. Done.
That was the
done. So that's the other dynamic of that deal is like, okay, who are you going to pair? We'll go get Vrabel. Who are we pairing you with? And are those two going to be in lockstep and connected?